The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ. And Merry Christmas, everyone.
It is Wednesday in the Riv, and we will not have a show on Christmas Day. So this is our Christmas show. So, yeah. Ho, ho, ho.
Unbelievable. All right, let's get started right off the bat with Admiral COVID.
No, we have to give you a special promotion. We have to make you like not only Starfleet commander. We have to, because now you have to get the COVID number somewhere else because you're on the mayor's naughty list. Yes, so you don't get your numbers anymore.
I still get them though. I have other sources. So for Massachusetts, the total cases was 318,143. New cases was 3,293. Total deaths was 11,804. New deaths were 43. Bristol County had 30,117 cases. The Fall River cases are 57 new cases, bringing us to a total of 7,065. And we had one new death, which brings us to 208 deaths due to COVID. So the numbers are still growing. That's for sure. And the governor has taken some actions this week, and I believe many people have already heard about them. But just in case, I think we need to address them. The Baker-Polito administration announced further measures to stop the spread of COVID-19. Capacity limits. Effective Saturday, December 26th, the most industries in Massachusetts will be subject to a 25% capacity limit, including restaurants, close contact personal services, theaters and performance venues, casinos, office spaces, places of worship, retail businesses, dining, driving and flight schools, golf facilities for indoor space only, libraries, lodging for common areas, arcades and indoor recreation businesses, fitness centers and health clubs, and museums, cultural facilities, and guided tours. Workers and staff will not count towards the occupancy count for restaurants, places of worship, close contact personal services, and retail businesses. All other rules and restrictions in each sector, specific guidelines will remain in effect. Gathering limits. Effective Saturday, you can no longer have any more than 10 people inside and 25 people outside. The gathering limit applies to private homes, event venues, and public spaces. So you can't have any more than 10 people in your house. And elective surgeries, they've canceled all elective surgeries at all hospitals because they don't want to overburden the healthcare system. So that's just a highlight of what has been ordered by the governor. And it takes effect at midnight on the 26th. So, hey,
well, let's make that a low light. Let's make that a low light, not a highlight. So
yeah. Has your gym been up to 25% capacity lately, Chip?
What's that?
Has your gym been up to 25% capacity or higher lately?
No. My gym hasn't gotten anywhere near. It's a very large facility, and I think they've got I don't know what their maximum, even with their maximum, they were over 100. And I haven't seen more than probably 11 or 12 people in the gym at any one time. Most of the time, they're in single digits. Yesterday when I went to the gym, there were 2 people, And then I got in there. I made 3. Then when I left, a few more people came in. There was probably 4 or 5. So people are not going to the gym, and the gym is very. I mean, they've got a lot of equipment and it's spread out. They've got a lot of equipment shut down, so there's spacing in between the treadmills. There's 2 treadmills that are not usable, 1 treadmill operational, then 2 treadmills you can't use. So there's on either side you've got ample. They're doing a very, very good job, but a lot of people just aren't coming, and it's a shame because they need that for their own for their own mental state. Sometimes exercise is a great is a great way to calm yourself, and but this is the height of hypocrisy. I look at this and I'm just appalled when the last couple days, the Christmas season, 'tis the season to be hypocritical. Fa la 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 la, and the politicians just showing their true colors. And anybody wants to said I don't have a beard, I'm Santa, but this is low budget stuff. See, there's my beard for temporarily, yeah, I mean. Adolf Bake is cranking everything down again because everybody wants an Emmy. I guess he wants an Emmy like Cuomo. We have actually the lowest positivity rate of our surrounding states. I think ours was 5.7. Rhode Island was higher than us, and Connecticut was higher than us. And actually, Gina is relaxing some of the stuff. So, but I mean, look, the hypocrisy knows no bounds when it comes to this. There we are. We're so worried about COVID that we're not going to give people who have a medical necessity the COVID virus in Massachusetts. Again, Massachusetts leads the world, even California and New York, in total disregard for people because they have to be woke, because now they're going to give the vaccine to prisoners in jails. And then they came out with the whole scenario of this bullshit justification, just like why they have to get the vaccine first. That's why 31-year-old AOC gets a vaccine. And some 85-year-old woman dies in a nursing home. Why? Because she made the mistake of getting old and being white. So they're going to give it to prisoners. They're going to give it to everybody but the people who need it first. And Massachusetts leads it. Massachusetts, that Priestley said, oh, we've got to give it to the prisoners. Why? If they get it, most of them aren't going to die anyway. If you have a prisoner that's 85 and has comorbidities, they should get the vaccine because they have a medical necessity. You're going to give it to a 25-year-old felon before you give it to somebody who could die this week if they don't get the vaccine or next week? That's Nazism. That's what Hitler did. The Democratic Party is labeling everybody, and this identity politics is exactly what every tyrannical regime has ever done. What do they do in China? If you're not Chinese, you're in a work camp. What did Hitler do? If you weren't an Aryan, you were going to die. Everybody else in the world was a subgroup. We have schools, and now supposedly the military, they want to ban somebody saying all lives matter is racist. No, saying all lives matter is being inclusive. Saying only one type of life matters is racist. And look what they've done to you. Look what they've done to you. I'll get to the city shortly, but I'm on a rant. This is my Christmas rant. Because I'll tell you, I am so pissed I can't believe it when I see what's going on. Look what they've done. You're going to get a $600 stimulus check. They gave $10 million to Jordan. They gave $1 billion to build walls in Jordan, in Lebanon, to protect their borders. But they're going to tear down the wall that Trump built. because only our borders can't be safe. They're giving $550 million and another $400 million to Middle Eastern countries to build walls to protect the security of their borders. Yet they're ripping down ours. They gave money to Pakistan, the country that hid Osama bin Laden, who was building a nuclear arsenal. They're paying down the national debt of Sudan with this package. They got so much pork, so much bullshit in this bill, it's incredible. And the American people get $600.
Well,
a
now
Hawaiian congressperson, a Hawaiian congressperson, Tulsi Gabbard, said that $600 is not 25% of the average rent in a major city in Hawaii. Yet they're giving money to pay down a national debt of Sudan. They're giving money for gender something or other at some other country. Hundreds of millions of dollars they're giving out. Billions of dollars. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, this is absurd. It shows beyond a shadow of a doubt. Pay attention, people. They do not give two craps about you. Everything they do for you is perfunctory in nature. They just do it to pretend that they care. They don't care about you. They don't care about the businesses that they're running in because they don't eat there. The French Laundry isn't going to close. So Gavin Newsom can go to lunch even if every burger joint that you and I eat in closes. Because all these people are multinational billionaires. They don't make their living in the United States. They want to make the world their oyster. And you're the victim. You think they gave a crap? This is another log rolling year-end bullshit bill to give everybody and every place that they've got business interests in hundreds of millions of dollars while our country goes down the damn toilet. And if you're happy with that, I don't know what's going to make you angry, but you got to stay angry even in this jolly holly season, because when you see what politicians do to you on all levels, it's ridiculous. They are the hypocrites of the highest order at every level. And I'll segue after you get through with your little dissertation on this. We'll segue into the local politics that has put CJ on the naughty list, and we have problems with issues again. But we can say, I'll just give you a preview of a coming attraction. The position that we discussed on the last couple of shows just went through with a shenanigan, and we'll let CJ explain that at some point in time. But, our federal government is basically the poster child for hypocrisy. And as it trickles down, they're just not giving enough money. They're not giving as much money as the federal government away, but they're all hypocrites. That's why Samuel Clemens was right. Politicians should be changed like diapers, and for the same reason.
It's interesting. I like the fact that you brought up what some of that stimulus money went for. $50 million for Pakistan democracy programs. That's run by the CIA. $10 million for Pakistan gender programs. $33 million for Venezuela. $86 million for Cambodia. $130 million for Nepal. $135 million for Burma. $453 million for the Ukraine. $700 million for the Sudan. $1.3 billion for foreign military financing. $1.4 billion for Asia reassurance. That's for China. And of course, there was only $600 for citizens. But President Trump took the step and he vetoed this legislation. He vetoed it. He says that he will sign it immediately if they send it back to him with $2,000 stimulus for the citizens. $2,000 apiece, $4,000 for a couple. He said he'd sign it. Initially, when this bill was being considered, he said he'd sign it for $1,200. Now he's up to $2,000. And the Congress and the Senate have already left. And if they don't get this bill passed before January 3rd, it dies. And they'll have to take it up in the new House and Senate, and the new president will have to handle it. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets what. But remember, people, the people you elected to Congress, the people you elected to the Senate, okay, those are the people that are saying that you're only worth $600, but Nepal is worth $130 million. Break it down by the number of population and find out how much they're actually giving to each person in that community or in that country, and find out and see how worthless you are to the politicians in federal government and also local and state government.
Yeah, but just think about what they're doing, CJ. Just look at the total insanity of what they're doing and a hypocrisy. We are subsidizing foreign military while we have people losing their houses, not being able to pay their bills, and we give them $600. That's a slap in the face. We're allowing 80% of the restaurants to go under. All these businesses that people have worked a lifetime to get, and they're letting them get flushed down the toilet while we're giving Cambodia. We gave the Dalai Lama, like you said, Nepal. The Dalai Lama got a loan. I hate to tell you this, but Buddhists take vows of poverty. They don't live extreme lives. The Dalai Lama doesn't live in a palatial estate, but we give it to everybody except the American public. So they're showing how much they really care about you. Why the hell do you keep electing them? Pick up your phone. Call your state reps. I'm going to call mine, and I'm going to express my outrage that they're even considering giving the vaccine to prisoners, young, healthy prisoners, before they give it to people who have a medical necessity for that vaccine. And I don't care what color they are, and I don't care if they're a prisoner. But if they're 78 years old and have comorbidities, they should be the first one in line for the vaccine. Period. No debate, no discussion. That's what the medical profession is supposed to do. Do no harm. And our state is so ridiculous with their identity politics that they're going to give it to people ahead of people who may die. And the estimate was 6,000. Call your state rep. Call your congressman. Tell them this is ridiculous, and vote their butts out. And look what's happening on a local level. People get jobs. People do what they got to do. But let's get back to that thing, because I know you got. I think they only used 2 nails to crucify you, but you got a lot of heat about what you did with what we talked about. And let me go back to last show. I made it very clear that this is not about all these peripheral issues. Oh, you hurt somebody's feelings, or you read a CMR, which you know by heart now because you've been attacked on that. You have to read it to a few people and show it to a few people. The statute is clear. The CMR is clear. What does CMR stand for? Commonwealth of Massachusetts Regulations. That's what it is. And it says that school nurses are supposed to be RNs. Yet, the school committee placed someone in there, and whether there's a familial relationship or not is irrelevant. As I said, whether it's nepotism or patronage, it doesn't make any difference. The issue here is another person, the city, knowingly violating the law, violating it. It's Christmas. I haven't been drinking yet, so it's not that. Just my tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. But I'll tell you, this is nuts, because this is the issue. It's not about, well, somebody told you, 3 people told you, I want to know their names. No, They gave you that information. They believe that information. And it really is irrelevant to the real issue that we continue to violate the law in the city of Fall River. No matter what the law is, it never gets in the way of Fall River politicians getting what they want. They ignore the law, just like they ignore the charter and only use it when it benefits them. The key issue here is the school committee fundamentally allowed this thing to go forward with and I'll let you explain the political machination, but the reality is that they let it go forward without ever asking why that statute was not adhered to. They didn't say, how can we actually do this legally? No, because it was a Christmas present, a political Christmas present for one of their own. And whether feelings are hurt by that or not, tough cookies, Christmas cookies in this case, because it doesn't matter. What does matter is that they're attacking you about all these little peripheral, oh, she's really not a relative. Oh, well, we know this one is a relative. So, but the reality is none of that stuff is let's get down to the real issues. If you go to a court of law and you start with this crap, they'll tell you, this is not germane to this case. It's hearsay. Shut up. We're here to try this thing. What we're doing here is we're calling the attention of the people of Fall River that, again, a political body in the city of Fall River is ignoring a law. Now, if they went in front of the committee and the school committee produced something that they said is a justification for violating the law, it wouldn't make it quite as bad. But when they don't even give us extend us the courtesy of pretending they give a crap about the law, it aggravates me. I'm sorry. So, CJ, you want to explain this nightmare and what they did, because I know that you've been under the gun for a while here. So
you know what? This is just retribution. This is just a childish act by a gentleman who doesn't like what's being said. And let me bring up a couple of things he brought up in the email that he sent to me, because I did send him an email saying that I only wish to converse with him in writing or via email. And I know that other people have asked the same thing. And I say a lot of things in plural deliberately, because by saying it in plural, it takes the focus of some of the headlights off of one person or two people and makes it wider. I even address things when I'm talking about myself in the plural. And you have to. And here's some of the things I'm being blamed for. I'm being blamed because the city administrator position wasn't taken up. The city administrator position, the candidate said very clearly in his letter to the mayor that he met too much resistance from the city council and he didn't feel that he could work with them. He didn't say he didn't feel he couldn't work with CJ Ferry. He said he couldn't work with the city council. So let's take that one right off the table. Okay? Movie nights. Yes, I was concerned about movie nights. I said that very clearly. And I said it could become a super spreader event. Just like I said the mayor's fundraising party could become a super spreader event. I've talked about CDA money being used. And there was always done by asking a question. And I asked the questions also directly to the CDA director. And I got responses from him of yes or no. I am always curious about where CDA money is going, because that is technically the mayor's checkbook and he can spend it where he wants. And we see that regularly. Adams House. I'm all of a sudden to blame for Adams House. It's my fault they didn't get their CPA money. They didn't get their CPA money because they started construction before they applied for the money. The rule says you can't do that. That's the rule. That's the regulation. Jim Souza and the CPC decided that it's not going to happen. Therefore, they denied it. They sent it to the city council to deny it. Sean Kadim said, no, this is a good project. Send it back to the CPC and have them reconsider it. They can't reconsider it. It was done the way it was done. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah, my super spreader events again. I've always pointed out things that may be super spreader events, as I said earlier. That's just the way it is. Okay? And 3 city councils providing info for a recent story. Those are reliable sources. If you think they're conspiring against you, that's your right to believe that. Okay? If you think that the city council is working against you, guess what? Jazel had the same situation happen to him. It happens. It happens, and it will happen. And that's just the way it is.
You're right. Well, you're right, CJ, but let's cut through the BS here. Everything you just mentioned shows what their diversionary tactics always are. It was your fault that the city administrator withdrew his application. Well, number one, it wasn't your fault. You pointed out the fact that this individual got some poor personnel reviews from little tiny towns he worked in. And he was going to come to a city of the size of Fall River being expected to perform in a place that is really difficult to be in. You're under the gun a lot. Just look at the flack that Kathy Ann and every city administrator takes when they go up in front of the council. Sometime. Not all the time, but sometime. Now, here's a guy that had a very weak resume, but probably knew somebody, and we know he knew somebody, to come here to find a place to nest. And as we said on a previous show, this is the reason why Fall River never moves forward. We're the dumping ground. We're the MBTA in this city. This is the employment agency for everybody's pal who supposedly has a profession but is not really good at it. We said the same thing about the superintendent of schools, who now has numerous complaints against him. And we have verified that. You have spoken to people who filed those complaints. We know that. And we pointed out before he was hired that he had never really, he had a very poor record. He never had a contract renewed in any of the communities he worked in. The only job he ever held for any length of time was a politically appointed job with Governor Deval Patrick. And now it's coming home to roost. We've got all kinds of problems that still are being tried to swept under the rug. And they don't want to deal with that. They're going to deal with all the other issues. You said this and you said that. No, let's get down to the real issue. Do you want to say that his contracts did get renewed, that he had outstanding performance ratings? You're not going to be able to say that because you know it's wrong. Are you going to say that this guy that was a candidate for city administrator had a sterling record and was being chased around by 10 other cities and towns to get him to go work there because he's a genius? No. Therein lies the problem. They shift it. It's a diversionary tactic. They're attacking things that are totally irrelevant from the core issue. The core issue is we had a person that we felt, and we're entitled to our opinion, very, very poorly qualified for city administrator. And one of the city councilors, Michelle Dion, did a great job of investigating it. And we had a superintendent of schools. We also had an ice house guard that was DCM, and we talked about that. So when we're talking about it, we're talking about an issue here. The issue that Fall River never seems to be able to get anybody with a decent resume. They can only get people who are connected to somebody. And you're 100, and the attack on you was to personalize it and deflect the attention away from the real issue.
Well, guess what? He can do whatever he wants. Obviously, his vetting process is poor. Well, with that, we have to end up this show for the holidays. We will see you on Monday, the 28th. And I hope that you all have a very Merry Christmas and a happy holidays with your family and your family, immediate family only. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Wear a mask. Merry Christmas.
That's right. And stay angry and healthy and ho, 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 ho.